You're a disappointment, my father yelled as he transferred my trust fund to my sister. She's a lawyer and you're just playing with computers in your apartment. I didn't argue. I simply smiled and left. 3 years later, the looks on their faces at the IPO ceremony were priceless. The mahogany walls of my father's study seemed to close in around me as he finalized the documents, the sound of his Mont Blanc pen scratching the paper like nails on a chalkboard. There, he said, sliding the trust fund transfer paper across the desk. It's done. All $2 million will go to Jennifer. My name is Emma Chen, and in 2008, I was being written off by my family for the last time. My sister Jennifer stood near the window, trying to hide her triumphant smile as she watched our father disinherit me. Emma, my mother sighed from her spot on the leather armchair. If you had just gone to law school like your sister, if you had just applied yourself. I did apply myself, I replied quietly, watching my father's expression darken, just not in the way you wanted. Playing with computers in your apartment isn't applying yourself, he snapped, towering over his desk. Your sister is a partner at Thompson & Mitchell. Meanwhile, you're coding websites for small businesses in that tiny apartment. I could have explained that what they deemed as playing with computers was, in fact, the creation of a groundbreaking ad-driven financial technology platform that was about to revolutionize global markets. I could have mentioned the Series B funding meeting I had next week with venture capitalists who had already valued my company at $300 million. But I remained silent. I had learned long ago that my family only saw what they wanted to see. You're right, I said instead, standing up. I'm clearly a disappointment. Jennifer deserves the money more than I do. Jennifer shifted uncomfortably by the window. For a moment, I glimpsed the sister I once knew, the one who shared ice cream with me after tough school days, the one who helped me with math homework before our parents' expectations drove a wedge between us. Emma, she started, but I raised a hand. It's fine, Jen. Really. Congratulations on making partner. You've earned this. As I walked toward the door, my mother called after me. Will you at least join us for dinner? Your father reserved a table at Leard to celebrate Jennifer's promotion. I turned back one last time, taking in the scene. My father's disapproving frown, my mother's practiced worry, and Jennifer's mixed expressions of triumph and guilt. The study was adorned with law degrees and bar association awards, devoid of any photographs of me or my achievements. I have a meeting, I replied, but enjoy dinner. The drive back to my apartment allowed me time to reflect. The trust fund had never been about the money. I had enough of my own now. It represented what my parents believed I deserved. They established identical trusts for Jennifer and me at birth, designed to be released on our 33rd birthdays, but with a clause to redirect funds if they felt one of us was failing to meet family expectations. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya, my CTO. VCS moved the meeting up to tomorrow. You ready? I smiled, thinking of our prepared presentation. More than ready, I typed back. Time to change the game. Upon arriving home, the tiny space my father had ridiculed, I kicked off my heels and made my way to my office. The wall-mounted screens displayed real-time data from our AI system, with numbers scrolling by, each representing a successful prediction, validating what we built. What my father dismissed as playing with computers had led to the development of Atina, an adaptive trading system with enhanced neural analytics, capable of predicting market movements with unprecedented accuracy by processing millions of data points to identify patterns human traders could never see. My phone buzzed again. It was Jennifer. I'm sorry about Dad, her text read. You know how he gets. The trust fund doesn't matter anyway, right? You're doing fine with your computer stuff. I stared at the message, noting the subtle dismissal of my work. Thanks, Jen, I replied. Enjoy dinner. Turning back to my screens, I opened the pitch deck for tomorrow's VC meeting. The numbers were staggering. Our beta testing showed Atina outperforming traditional trading algorithms by 32%. Major banks were already quietly reaching out, eager for early access to our technology. A soft chime announced an incoming video call from Maya. Her face appeared on one of the screens, her usual enthusiasm somewhat subdued. Hey, she said. How did it go with the family? About as well as expected, I replied, running a hand through my hair. Dad signed over my trust fund to Jennifer. They're celebrating at Leard right now. Maya shook her head. They lost. Are you ready to show those VCs tomorrow what real success looks like? I pulled up another screen showing Atina's latest test results. Actually, I've been thinking, what if we don't take the VC money? Maya's eyes widened. Emma, we're talking about a $50 million investment at a $300 million valuation. That's small thinking. Look at these numbers, Maya. We don't need VC funding. We could go public within a year and maintain complete control. I smiled, thinking of my father's expression at the IPO ceremony. This would really show them what playing with computers could accomplish. Maya was quiet for a moment, processing what I said. Then a slow grin spread across her face. You want to build an empire? I want to build something that even my father can't dismiss, I corrected her. Something that changes how the entire financial world operates. Your father is a corporate lawyer, Maya pointed out. Wouldn't he have heard about Atina if it's as revolutionary as we think? I laughed. Maya, my father still uses a BlackBerry and thinks that coding is something you learn at a community college. He hasn't heard about Atina because he never bothered to ask. It's his loss, for sure. What's the plan? We use the VC meeting, but not for investment. Instead, we pitch partnerships. We need their connections, not their money. 6 months after being disinherited, I stood in our new office space in downtown Manhattan, watching our team of engineers put Atina through its final testing phase. The floor-to-ceiling windows offered a perfect view of the financial district, the same institutions soon to be transformed by our technology. Emma, Maya called from her workstation. You need to see this. I walked over, coffee in hand, to look at her screen. The latest simulation results were beyond our most optimistic projections. Atina wasn't just predicting market movements. It was identifying market-moving events before they happened. Is this accurate? I asked, leaning closer to study the data. Maya nodded, her excitement palpable. Triple verified. The AI spotted patterns in social media, news articles, and trading behavior that predicted the Morgan Stanley merger announcement 3 days before it happened. If this had been real trading instead of a simulation, we would have earned $1 billion. Have you shown this to the compliance team? That's the best part, she said, pulling up another screen. Everything's completely legal. Atina isn't using insider information. It's just better at connecting publicly available data points than any human ever could. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Hey sis, haven't heard from you in months. Parents are worried. Dad says your phone number at the apartment is disconnected. I smiled slightly. Of course it was disconnected. We'd moved the entire operation to a $40 million office space 6 blocks from Wall Street. Yet my family still thought I was merely playing with computers in my tiny apartment. I'm fine, I replied. Just busy with work. Another buzz came through, this time from our head of legal, David. SEC meeting confirmed for next week. They're interested in the compliance protocols. That was an understatement. Once word got out about our revolutionary development in the fintech space, the SEC had practically begged for a meeting. They wanted to understand our technology before it hit the market. Miss Chen, a receptionist's voice came through the intercom. There's a Mr. Thompson here to see you. He says he's from Thompson and Mitchell. My heart skipped a beat. Thompson and Mitchell was Jennifer's law firm, one of the largest in the city. Send him in, I said, straightening my blazer. James Thompson himself walked through the door. The senior partner and my sister's boss looked precisely like the kind of lawyer my father admired. Silver-haired, impeccably tailored suit, exuding that old money confidence. Miss Chen, he said, extending his hand. Thank you for seeing me without an appointment. I hope you'll forgive the intrusion, but when we heard rumors about what you're developing, we were intrigued. You heard rumors? I asked, gesturing for him to sit. Let's just say certain financial institutions are very interested in your technology. They've asked us to explore potential relationships. Does my sister know you're here? His smile faltered slightly. Jennifer? No, this meeting is strictly confidential. I must admit, I was surprised to learn you were her sister. She never mentioned she had a sister who plays with computers. I can imagine she hasn't mentioned me at all, I replied. Maya appeared in the doorway, tablet in hand. Emma, sorry to interrupt, but the Goldman Sachs team is here for their demo. Thompson's eyebrows shot up at the mention of Goldman Sachs. I could nearly see him recalculating my worth in his mind. Mr. Thompson, I said, standing. I apologize, but I have another meeting. If you want to discuss potential partnerships, You can contact our legal team to schedule something. Of course, he said, rising quickly. But Miss Chen, whatever Goldman is offering, we can match it. Thompson and Mitchell represents half the major financial institutions in the city. I stepped out, feeling a strange satisfaction. It's not about the money, Mr. Thompson. It's about completely changing the game. After he left, Maya gave me a knowing look. You enjoyed that, didn't you? Maybe a little, I admitted. How long until he tells Jennifer about our little operation here? Given that your sister's firm represents billions in financial interests, I'd say about 5 minutes. Sure enough, my phone buzzed again. Emma, why didn't you tell me? Jim Thompson just came back from your office looking like he'd seen a ghost. What exactly are you working on? I put my phone away without answering. There would be time for family discussions later. Right now, we had a demonstration to prepare. The Goldman Sachs team was already waiting in our conference room. 5 executives in expensive suits trying not to appear too eager. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, standing at the head of the table. What you're about to see will fundamentally change how the markets operate. But first, I need you to sign these NDAs. On the morning of our IPO, I stood before the mirror adjusting my Chanel suit. My parents would recognize the difference. The Wall Street Journal lay on my desk, featuring our company's impending public offering on the front page. Atina set to launch, biggest tech IPO of the year. Expected valuation, $800 million. My phone had been buzzing nonstop for days. First Jennifer, then my mother. Even my father had tried to reach out. I'd let their messages accumulate unanswered. They would all be at the ceremony today anyway. The invitations had gone out weeks ago. Ready for this? Maya asked, appearing at my office doorway. Born ready, I replied, picking up my presentation folder. How's Atina performing this morning? Like a dream. The latest analysis shows it predicting market movements with 99.7% accuracy. The trading floor is buzzing. Everyone knows this is going to change everything. We made our way to the stock exchange, where crowds had already gathered, financial reporters lining the entrance, cameras flashing as we approached. I caught snippets of their commentary. Youngest female CEO to take a company public. Revolutionary AI trading technology already has contracts with major financial institutions. Inside the exchange was electric with anticipation. Our team gathered near the podium, along with representatives from every major bank and financial institution in the city. And there in the front row sat my family, my father's face a mix of conflicting emotions, pride battling regret, confusion clashing with awe. My mother dabbed at her eyes with a handkerchief, and Jennifer just stared at me as if she were seeing her sister for the first time. Emma. My father stepped forward as I approached the podium. We had no idea. No, I said calmly. You didn't, because you never asked. Before he could respond, the exchange president called me to the stage. It was time for the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, my voice carrying across the suddenly quiet trading floor. 3 years ago, I started coding Atina in a tiny apartment. People called it playing with computers. They said I was wasting my potential. They couldn't see that I was building the future. As I locked eyes with my father, I continued. Today, Atina processes more financial data in a second than all of Wall Street could analyze in a month. She predicts market movements with near-perfect accuracy, all while operating within strict ethical and legal guidelines. But more importantly, she represents what's possible when you believe in your vision, even when no one else does. The ceremony proceeded with tradition. Speeches, handshakes, the ringing of the bell. But the real moment came when our stock price appeared on the big board. The room erupted into cheers as the numbers soared past our projections. By lunchtime, my personal stake in the company was worth over $300 million, more than 100 times the trust fund my father had signed away. After the ceremony, my family approached hesitantly. Jennifer spoke first. Emma, I'm so sorry, she said, her lawyer demeanor cracking. All this time. Save it, I said calmly but not unkindly. You all saw what you wanted to see. My father cleared his throat. Princess, about the trust fund. Keep it, I interrupted. Jennifer earned it just like I earned this. Sometimes the best thing someone can do for you is believe that you'll fail. It makes success that much sweeter. But we're family, my mother protested. We should have supported you. I looked around at my real family, Maya and our team, the people who believed in the vision when it was just lines of code in a tiny apartment. You're right, we are family, I said. That's why you're all invited to dinner tonight. I've reserved the private room at Leard. I hear it's a great place to celebrate success. My father's face twitched at the reference to that dinner 6 months ago, but he managed a small smile. We'd be honored. Later that evening, as my family marveled at our technology and success over expensive wine, I reflected on the long road that had led here, the late nights coding while they thought I was wasting time, the meetings they dismissed as merely playing with computers, the victory they tried to give to someone else. My phone buzzed with a message from Maya. Stock closed at double our projected value. You're officially a billionaire. I smiled, watching my father attempt to explain to his country club friends how his supposedly disappointing daughter built an empire right under his nose. Success, I've learned, wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about proving myself right. Emma, Jennifer said, pulling me aside, I need to tell you something. After Jim Thompson came back from your office today, I looked up everything I could find about Atina. I started buying stock in every company that showed interest in your technology. I believed in you, even if I didn't show it. I raised an eyebrow. Did you make money? She grinned. Enough to pay back that trust fund 10 times over, because I'm going to need a lawyer I can trust for our next expansion phase, someone who understands both technology and family. Her eyes widened. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to be part of something bigger than both of us. What do you say, sis? Ready to play with computers? The next morning, as I walked into our office building, now officially the Atina Tower, I passed a young intern coding in the lobby during her break. She reminded me of myself when everyone thought I was wasting time with computers. Keep at it, I told her. Sometimes the biggest success stories start in the smallest apartments. She looked up, recognition dawning in her eyes. Miss Chen, I read about how you built Atina. My parents think I'm crazy for choosing programming over law school. But you have a vision, I finished for her. Hold on to that. And remember, the people who underestimate you today will be reading about you tomorrow. As I rode the elevator to my office, I thought about legacy. Not the kind my father had tried to impose, but the kind you build yourself. One line of code at a time. Atina was not just changing the financial world. She was proving that success doesn't always look the way people expect it to, and sometimes the best inheritance isn't the one you receive, but the one you create for yourself.